See, we're jumping straight to whose voice, as opposed to, is it my voice? As in, is it the personal self's voice that's in here, or indeed coming out of the mouth? Whose mouth? Is there thinking happening? Yeah. Is there speaking happening? Yes. The question is it me that's thinking and speaking? Yeah. The question, whose voice, is really putting the cart before the horse. We first need to determine whether it's your voice, the perceived personal person's voice. We need to check that out first. Yeah. The thinkings, I think, is relatively easy to check out. There's a narration going on all day in our head that we'd love to be able to just turn off. And we discover we can't. It just keeps going. Yeah. The speaking voice is just verbalized thought, clearly. Yeah. It's still dualistic, works exactly the same way as thoughts, as in communication. Yeah. So the communication is still dualistic and thinking is still dualistic. Now, the real question to pose there is, where am I in all of this? As in, where's this personal me in all of this that believes it has free will, that believes it's the thinker, that believes it's the speaker, that believes it hears its own voice in here, in the mind? That's the question to pose. Yeah. When we're asleep dreaming and our dream character arises in the dream, is that you speaking in that dream? If you ask the dream character, if it was the dream character that was speaking, the dream character would absolutely say yes. With zero doubt. It would seem like an absurd question. Are you the speaker to the dream character? Indeed. Are you the dream character in a sleeping dream? Is that you? Character, it feels personal when you're the character in the dream. It feels quite personal. What free will have you got as the character in the dream?
None.
See, what's the actual difference when perhaps a question may arise in the mind? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I must remember to bring that up in satsang. And then it literally being brought up in satsang. What's the difference? What's the difference? And who's electing to bring it up? Whose idea was it? Oh, yes, I must remember that. Whose idea was that? As a personal character, personal Mika, we would say my idea. It's my idea. Of course it was. Whose else idea would it be? The thinking just happens. The speaking just happens. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching just happens. And there's nothing wrong with any of it. Zero. What also just happens is the me thoughts also just arise and just happen. For those that are sitting here that don't like the word dog spelt backwards, that's who's speaking. That's who's thinking. That's who's seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. That's who's doing. And it's causeless. And there is only that. You're ripping yourself off. You're taking yourself to be a personal person, where in actual fact, your dog, spelt backwards.
So how arrogant of something, because as you say all that, it's really clear that the thought that there's an idea that comes from a person, because I'll take responsibility for all my ideas. I mean, and just really be convinced that I had that idea.
I know.
And that, puts a person into shape. So listening to you talk right now is just really helpful to see, and also just to see the arrogance of that thought, of that idea, that
The most
image.
arrogant.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most, I think as a seeming person, the most arrogant statement we can make is, of course I have free will. I have free will. I can do anything. I have free will. Nothing will get in my way because I have free will, which implies I have the will to be able to manipulate and change and do whatever. And then the little personal person will step in and go, oh, but, I can do that. That must imply I have free will. That's a big drop from the perceived idea of what we believe free will to be. I'm the decision maker. I'm the mover and shaker. And And it would seem like, there's close to, if we round it up, 8 billion people on the planet, all seeming to have their own separate individual experience. That's how the narrative goes. And as this seeming separate individual person, there's all my thoughts. Is it really that big a jump if we acknowledge that there is one absolute, that's the thinker, that manifests through all human beings? That's the speaker that manifests through all human beings. Is it really that big a jump? I mean, none of us here are thinking shit. As a person, you're not even there. Being dreamt into being. Not even being. Shit. You can absolutely see. Look, the trick is just coming to see what the hell's going on here. Here. That's all you need to inquire into. When that fully dawns, the idea of me being here, or me being a thinker, or me having free will, or me being a separate, personal, isolated, lonely little self, all of that notion just collapses. In the process of that collapsing, it absolutely dawns on you, there's no one else out there either. There's no one else that's walking around that has free will, that's a person, that's alone and isolated. If there's no one here, just because the other person hasn't realized that there's no one here, there, just because they haven't realized that, doesn't mean there's a person there. They just haven't realized it yet. When it fully dawns on you, holy shit, there is no personal person here. When that finally hits as such, in the immediacy of that, all other seeming personal persons disappears as well. The lights are definitely on, but there's no one home. Like, there's definitely aliveness. There's being here. Oh my God. Just stop taking that to be mine, because it's not. It's not.